If you've paid attention to photography at all in social media, one of the things you might have noticed is this camera. This is the Fuji X100 series camera. This is the 4th generation. They're currently on the 5th generation. And what's amazing is that these cameras, unlike any other camera I've seen, have retained their value. It's actually super incredible. And I think the main reason they're retaining their value so well is because as professional creatives, people are wanting a way to still have amazing image quality, take amazing pictures, but also slow down in the process a little bit. And that's exactly what this camera does. It makes you slow down. It makes you think about composition. It makes you think about the actual image that you're getting in camera, because really the nature of a camera like this, one of the reasons I think it's grown in popularity so much is because people aren't taking the images and then heavily editing them. They're really getting the image that they want in the camera using what Fujifilm calls their film simulations. And whenever you fine tune it, you can really get an incredible image, a beautiful image. And all it takes is for you to slow down, think about your shot, and just fire away. Another amazing thing about this camera is that it is so discreet. Now I've got the black and silver one. It looks a lot more retro, and it's definitely a little bit more of a conversation starter than the all black one, which in hindsight I kind of wish I would have gotten, just because it's so much more discreet than this. This just kind of lends itself to people talking to you. Maybe they ask you if it's a film camera or the kind of photography you do, and if they know what it is, then they're going to ask how you like it, if they can use it, if they can hold it, something like that. It's a bit of a conversation starter, and really I think so much of that comes down to the aesthetic and the vintage vibe that this camera gives off. There are a lot of things going right for this camera. One of the things that I personally love most is the fact that I don't have to invest in a whole new camera system. I'm a Sony shooter. I have Sony for photography, Sony for video. One of the big appeals to picking this camera up is because it's small, lightweight, it fits in the pocket, and it feels like it could take a beating. It is a tank. It is a solid hunk of metal, and it just, what it lacks in the comfortable ergonomics, it makes up for with all of these non-tangible things, and that's what makes this camera really, really unique. I didn't even know this, but at the time of filming this video, I've been doing freelance work full-time for a few months, and I didn't realize how much I would enjoy a point-and-shoot camera. I didn't realize how much slowing down would be good for me. So I'm not taking my A7 III or my FX III with me to coffee shops just because they're big and they're clunky, and I have to figure out, am I going to do photos or videos? Am I going to do audio that I need to color correct and color grade and define music and all these different things? And the list piles up, and it makes me not really want to take my equipment outside of professional shoots. And what this has done, just by having this a few days, has made me enjoy picking up my camera like when I first started doing it, not looking at it just as a job to provide for me and my family, but looking at it and finding beauty and special moments and images in the mundane things of just sitting at a coffee shop, editing, sending emails, making phone calls. This camera, in the weirdest way, has inspired me to want to shoot again. But what's amazing is that I'm not having to heavily edit these pictures, because that's not what this camera's for. This camera isn't for the heavily edited pictures, and you can get absolutely beautiful images. Make no mistake, you can get fantastic images out of this camera, even though this camera, technologically speaking, is pretty old. But the fact that I can snap a picture, send it directly to my phone, and then post it with little to no post-processing editing workflow is pretty amazing. And the pictures are beautiful. I've heard so much about the Fuji colors, but I didn't realize that the hype was real. Now, I can get beautiful images out of my Sonys. Make no mistake. I truly believe that I can get beautiful images out of my Sonys. But the colors straight out of the camera of a Fuji camera, at least this Fuji, are amazing. They give kind of this camera lends itself to giving kind of a little bit more grain and vintage and kind of desaturated look. Some of the things that I absolutely love about the camera is that it took no time to figure out kind of how everything works because so much of it is analog. You can set it to different things and have some customization with your dials and the buttons. It's got an exposure compensation dial on the top right. It's got this on-off switch that's just like my Sony's if I want to turn it on or off. It's got the shutter speed and the ISO in one dial, and it's got an aperture ring that is pretty amazing that goes f2 all the way to f16. It's pretty amazing. This camera, there really are just some intangibles about this camera that make it so much fun. And I bought it with the intention of selling it, but after using it for a few days, I genuinely believe the hype. I believe that this is something that's here to stay. These point and shoots, I'm bummed that Sony isn't in the small compact point and shoot game at an affordable price, at a reasonable price. They've got it for vloggers, for people that want to make videos, for kind of the content creator lifestyle. But they don't have that for photography. I don't think I'll take this on a professional shoot and just use this, but I love having it to snap pictures really quick, send it to my phone, then send it to the client right away without having to worry about, oh man, how are they going to get their same day samples whenever it's so late and I got to get home and I got to edit and then I got to go to sleep super, super late. I actually tested that workflow just the other day on a shoot. I was there for 4 hours just blasting away with my A7 III, swapping lenses, getting different angles and moving all over the place. But then at one point I settled down and I pulled this out and I was able to get some pretty decent pictures out of it, even though I've only had it for a few days and haven't like fully gotten comfortable with using it yet. I sent them right away. I said, here's some sample images. I'll get you the rest real soon. The client loved the images that came out of this point and shoot camera, so I think I could use it on a professional shoot, even though it's the fixed focal length. It's not bad. It's pretty great. There are a lot of things going right for this camera, and really whoever's designing these Fuji X100 series cameras, that person needs a raise because they're absolutely beautiful. I find myself wanting to pick this up more than my Sony for the day-to-day shoot. I'm not going to invest in Fujifilm. I don't want to jump to a different system. I love my Sony. It does everything I need from video to photo work, but this is just great to have around. It's super inconspicuous. It fits in my pocket, and my wife doesn't notice it whenever we're out and about. My kids don't really want to mess with it just because it's small and they're just not interested in it. But whenever I pull out my Sony camera or the FX3, all of a sudden it's all eyes are focused on the guy with the big camera and the big lens. But this fits in my pocket. I'm a big fan. There are so many videos about the X100 series that you could look up right now. This isn't even a review. This is just my thoughts on having the X100f for as long as I've had it. And it hadn't been that long, but I totally understand the hype. If you're looking to pick up an X100 camera, good luck. I got this on Facebook Marketplace, and it wasn't being sold for a ridiculous price, so I drove half an hour, picked it up, and I am so pleased with this purchase. But if you do happen to find one, if you're looking for one, and you happen to find one on a good deal, either at a camera shop or Facebook Marketplace or Craigslist, whatever it is, be safe if you're doing that through Craigslist or Facebook Marketplace. But if you can find one for a good deal, I'd encourage you to pick it up. If you're even interested a little bit in photography, this is going to give you great images right out of the camera, and you don't have to have Lightroom or Photoshop. It's going to take some time. I'll tell you that right now. It's going to take some time to dial in the film simulation and the recipe that they call it in the Fuji world. It's going to take some time to dial in that recipe exactly how you want it, but you're going to be pleased with the images that you get. And people are going to think, oh my gosh, you're kind of a real deal, kind of an actual professional. This is actually amazing. I'm very proud of you. I'm excited for you. The camera is great. It's absolutely wonderful, and it's built like a tank. So even if my kids did want to grab it, if your kids want to grab it, or if you just kind of want to toss it in a bag, you could totally do that, and I don't think it's going to hurt it. Big fan. Fuji X100f. And also just look at the detail in this. Look how vintage and old school this looks. It's just beautiful on the back. Pretty simple, straightforward, but the beauty really comes whenever you look at the top. The top of this, the X100f, and the dials and the placement, all of this looks absolutely amazing. This is beautiful. Well, that's it for me, guys. If you like this video, subscribe for more. We're going to be talking more about photo business, video business, how it relates, kind of things that are going on in life. Hope you're doing well, and I'll see you in the next one.